Hey, this is Kineer, and welcome to a Dune Awakening update video. We're just 72 hours away, short distance away. June 5th is coming up pretty quick. It's June 2nd here most of the time. And Funcom has just announced the availability of private servers for Dune Awakening, and they're going to be available right off the bat during the Head Start period. I've got a little video running here in the background. Let me turn this down so I don't have to listen to it while we go. I'm going to go back and show you this right here. We're going to let that play in the background. So they have a blog post up here, duneawakening.com, private servers announced. This is also on Steam. They dropped this out onto their different social media platforms as well. I'm going to take a look at it right here and point out what we know today. And the first section here, they're just telling us we're about 3 days out, and they've talked about this before, and they're giving it to us right away, which is kind of fantastic. They do have a recent blog post that they want to link you to. This is over on Steam. All the mechanics are out here for server structure and multiplayer. In short, what they're telling us, and I'm going to go ahead and pan down here to the map. They're showing us a map for the private servers that shows that the deep desert is a shared environment. The social hubs at Arrakis and Harkonnen Village are shared, but Haga Basin is a private area. So you get to run your own private server, and you'll have control over this along with the hosting company, given the options that they give you. And I think that's what they say later. However, all of the private servers will be gathered up under a single world, or multiple worlds if there's a lot of them. And those worlds, all the private servers will share a deep desert. They will share this social hub and Harkonnen Village as a social hub, which means they'll share an auction house and other features that are multiplayer as well. So they tell us down here how private servers work. When you rent a private server, get it? You're just going to get one Haga Basin. It belongs to a world. That's what I just shared with you there. And what they say, this is interesting, they say you'll be able to take full advantage of the multiplayer content and mechanics. So to me, that says Landsrad. To me, that says guilds, even though it might, may be kind of odd if you're running a small private server, you have a guild on it, you will get to be part of the Landsrad within the deep desert and the rest of the world as well. But the only guild on your server might be you. So you'll have full access to all the resources within the Haga Basin area. So, and then you'll be able to go up to the social hubs and do things there. Players do not rent the social hubs. Yeah, they've kind of said that. Now, the private server settings, this is really where where it hits the road, right? This is where it gets really serious as far as I'm concerned. Oh, I shouldn't, I was trying to pan back up so I could leave the heading there. You get to control some things, but not everything. And it sounds like the boundary over what you get to control is primarily based on the fact that there are shared areas, right? So clearly you're not going to control the auction house. You're not going to control the deep desert and the settings in there. However, we can assume you can apply all the same decrees through the Landsrad process. So those will work across the world without any issues. Anyway, the things that they tell you is ultimately up to the service provider, but I've taken a look at them and they all seem to be allowing all this. The first is security zones. You can disable security zones entirely, making everything in Haga Basin PvP enabled. Or you can have it the way it is normally in the game on the public servers, which is to have pockets of PvP, which is for the most part at the ship crash sites exclusively. However, if you think about this, if it's your private server and everyone on there is a friend of yours, the PvP experience is going to be either non-existent or pretty friendly. It's just going to be, you can pretty much assure yourself you're not going to have griefers if it's if it's exclusively people that you know. So you don't have a worry there. Now, if you could go up to the deep desert and things will be what they are there, that's it. Taxation, you can disable taxes on your server. And then sandstorms, you can disable sandstorms, making them not appear on your server. Those last two are actually really interesting long-term play issues. And they're pretty exciting if you had concerns about having to log in every 21 days and refuel your field generators, right? The shield generators. If you had concerns about logging in every 21 days to fuel those up or getting somebody to do it, because in the normal game on the public servers, if you do not have fuel in your shield generator, the storms will come along and degrade your base. And your base may also be subject to, I don't think it's subject to raids in the PvE area, but it might be. If you don't have a shield generator up and running, I'm not sure what you can do to keep people from getting into your base and taking things. Maybe the controls already work. But anyway, the sandstorms, turning the sandstorms off, and taxation. Taxation was also one of those where if you didn't pay your taxes on a regular basis, at least for the larger sub-fiefs, the larger bases that you wanted to build, you would also lose shield generator protection. So you can just turn that off. If you're going to pay for your own private server, then You could log in, once every couple of months if you wanted to, or you won't have to worry about your base at all, really. And again, you can handle kind of behavioral issues among the people that you have on there. So that's pretty good. The security zones, I already said, if you turn off, if PvP is on for a couple of zones and it's just people it's effectively off. There's effectively no PvP unless you're already kind of permitting it and everybody's on board with it, and you can work that out. You just don't have to worry about strangers in PvP. That's kind of it. It says you'll be able to name your server and set a password for it. I would expect nothing less. You should be able to put a password on it. That's how they control whether people can get to it as well. There's no special admin control panel. Maybe they'll do that later, and no character transfer. So what they're saying is they might do this later. So if you started on a public server and you created a character and you leveled them all the way up and you're like, I want to take him to a private server, maybe they'll find a way to do that in the future. That would be kind of cool. So the next item they call out for us is visiting other private servers, just like you can visit in a public world. Yeah, you can do that, except you need the password. So you can't just join anybody's private server, but if you have friends who have a private server or another group and you're cooperating with them, you can join them. Here's the really interesting thing. You can even claim land. That's kind of amazing, really. So if someone gives you permission to come and play on their private server, I assume you're going to take up a slot on that server as well if you come over there. I don't know how they're going to handle that, because when you rent a private server from one of the companies that's partnered, they do so by giving you slots, and I assume those are concurrent player slots. So it's possible you could try to go to somebody else's private server, and if all the slots are taken up, you won't get in. But that's okay. You're just a visitor anyway. But maybe it also gives you the ability to play on multiple private servers. This really opens things up in a fascinating way. How to rent a private server. Funcom has essentially outsourced all that, which is a brilliant move on their part. They're just going to hand it over to people who are running servers for a bunch of other games. And that is, at this time, Gportal, Netrado, and XRealm. So let's take a quick look at them. Go over here. Gportal has 6 slots for 30 days at $11.29. Hold on. I'm going to go Dallas, Washington, New York, Los Angeles, if you're in North America or the US. And that switches over here. I'm just going to put Dallas because I'm Central Time Zone. And you can get 10 slots at $1.82 a player for 30 days, and they discount over here. And Netrado, it's interesting. Netrado has 20 slots and 26 slots, so they are more slots right off the bat. Gportal has signed up for 10 slot servers, so small. That's really cool. Now think about that. You could have all of Haga Basin to yourself and 9 friends, or or 8 friends and some travelers, some people who are coming from other servers. And XRealm is 6 slots, 12 slots, and 24 slots. And they have different pricing. And, and they get to differentiate as to whether they're running, they all have to be running on an SSD. There's no way they're running these servers on anything other than SSDs. But, that's my guess. So that's it. And then they give us some closing words. And, I think there will be, my opinion is this is going to be a little different. The folks at Gportal do a nice job of talking about this. They say that you have 4 different battle groups, and I think they're all kind of doing the same thing. You have hardcore PvP, PvEP, and roleplay and free. And if we look at more info, what they're saying is the same controls, sandstorm taxes, and security zones. They're just arranging them in different combinations. So hardcore means you have sandstones and taxes, and they have turned on PvP everywhere, or they've disabled the security zones. PvPE is sandstorms, taxes, and this is kind of the vanilla game. This is what you get in public, PvP, VE. And then roleplay, they are taking sandstorms and taxes off, and you can't PvP except tiny little areas. So that's a very friendly environment. And then free-for-all looks like they just let you decide. This seems like one of those things where, you're picking one of 3 options, or you can just set it up for yourself. It'll be interesting to see if you can change that from time to time. So that's it. Big move by Funcom. Amazing move. They talked about it in advance. We knew it was probably going to happen in the future. We had no idea when. It is pretty surprising that they're doing it right off the bat. And it's pretty exciting. It means that, quite frankly, any type of player that's out there should be able to find something that they're interested in. If they like the core gameplay mechanic, if you like the science fiction kind of survival world crafting building with some flavor of PvP or not, it looks like there's not going to be a lot of room to sit back and say, okay, well, they didn't give me all the options I want, because day one you can get into a server. So we're hoping it does well. Hey, I think it's going to be it for this video. This is a huge announcement from Funcom. We thought they were going to do it in the future. Surprised the daylights out of me, honestly, but it's wonderful. I'm going to start on the public servers anyway, and I might, over the next 2 days, decide to go ahead and stand up a private server. It seems like a great opportunity. If I do, I'll go back and forth between them, and I'll show people the difference and see how it works. I think that'll be pretty exciting. I do think I want to pick a place where I want to develop a character, so that'll be fine. It looks like they've done a great job here. It's a really cool combination of shared world spaces and private spaces and a little bit of control. I'm not going to fault them for not having 100 extra controls and fine granularity on day one. It's pretty exciting that this is going to be here in the first place. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button. It lets the algorithm know that it should be shared with other people. And then you don't have to do anything else. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below. You know how that works. I try to answer every top level comment that comes in to my videos, and I've been able to do that so far. I'm happy to discuss either the topic or other games or something like that. So look around the channel. If you are interested in this kind of content in the future, or you want to find out what I'm doing in the future, I will be streaming the game live at Kineer on YouTube / Kineer Gaming on Twitch. Best way to find out about that is to subscribe on YouTube. And if you want to support the channel, you can buy me a coffee. You can go to Patreon. That link is down there too. You can join the channel. All that's appreciated, and we'd love to see you around. So with that, this is Kineer, and I'm out of here. Thanks.